Oh my God. Hello, and welcome to the cast assessment for season two of Inferno Firewall. I am here with production Jen, Topher, Mac, and our lovely guests, Jeremy and Seb. Are we ready to look at this cast, this iconic hot cast?
Yes,
Right.
we're gonna slay. This cast is so good. Period.
Okay, I'm sharing my screen. And our first person is Alex, 23, from Jersey. He's been in the org community for almost a year and a half now. He's played 10. He's played Applause, Wheel of Terror, BB Disney, and the BB Disney CTC crossover.
Period.
He's wearing a low-kai bracelet, and so right off the bat, this guy's got his energies lined up correctly, and he's seen there telling the waiter, "Excuse me, I will have one more."
I think that among this cast, this may be Alex's time to shine. I can see him shining in this cast. I've played with Alex before. He's really, really good, very sneaky, and I'm super excited to see like his perspective from the prod side, because I think that again, this could be his game where he just takes it home.
Definitely agree.
I think Alex is a phenomenal player. I think Alex gets in his head a lot, but I think overall, I think that Alex is a really good player. I think that I agree that I think this is his game to go pretty far in. I think that Alex has the skills to do it. I think he's one of those org players that like he takes what he learns from other games and he brings it to the next one. And I think he's gonna do that here.
I also have to agree. I think that Alex is someone in this cast who I can see going pretty far. I think he is quite strategic. He is quite loyal to people when he needs to. And I think he's the best cast photo. So that too.
Period.
Yeah, I have.
Cast photo. Sorry.
No, you're okay. I have seen Alex play in a few games, but I've never had the chance to actually play with him. But like, always seems to be in a good position without actually establishing a position. So I think if he can like use that in this game, he can probably get himself far as he typically does.
100%. I played with Alex in a Survivor org, and we were basically inseparable once the merge hit, to the point where his own girlfriend took him out.
Lord, what Lord?
Um, clapping. Um, so he's very strategic. He's very social, and I agree with every single point each of y'all said. Cool. I also think he's gonna go far. So with this cast, definitely. All right. Any last minute comments before we move on to the next person?
Oh wait, where is he gonna place?
That's a good question for me.
I call me crazy, call me wild, call me quirky. I see him winning. On this cast, I see him winning.
Sean, can you send me the cast?
Yeah, I think Alex is our Josh Duolingo this season, and I think he's bringing home the win.
Apparently, to win Inferno, you just have to wear a pair of glasses. Awesome.
Yeah.
And have dark black hair.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Alex is tall, so is Josh.
Yep.
Wow. The similarities, uncanny.
But maybe that's because Heather's short.
And they're also from the East Coast.
I think they're both.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So this next queen is from the Facebook side. Her name is hello. Her name is Allie Gehring. She goes by she, her. She is 59, but young at heart. She's played more Alias games on Facebook, so she's new to this atmosphere of playing as herself. So I've never heard of her. She is a friend of an alumni, so it's nice to see that.
Ali G is seen here swearing that it is her dog that she's walking.
I didn't know that she mostly does like Alias games, so that is definitely interesting. I too have never met her, so I'm definitely excited to see her. I think for those that do know her, it will be interesting to see how she plays as herself as opposed to when she plays as an alias. So that'll be super fun. And I'm already getting really good vibes from her from her prod chat preseason. She's hilarious. And yeah.
Didn't she send like 3 intro videos?
She sent like multiple videos. And
Queen. She said you get options.
Allie is an icon, a legend. She inhabits the space of my heart. But for real, I don't know who Allie is. We had a conversation like 3 or 4 weeks ago about playing Distortion. She said no. Now I know why. This she better win this game or I'll be a little upset.
Oh well.
Like my first impression of Ellie is that she's quite charming and just like funny and iconic. And if she has that first impression from what we're getting to the cast itself, that could like set her up very well and like be, hit the ground running. So there is definitely potential for her. I also have not met her in the community, so I'm excited to see how her game turns out.
I have also never met Ali before, but I will be interested to see how she translates her gameplay from Alias to being in person because being behind an alias, there's a lot less expectation and pressure about those like previous relationships that you might be walking in with or anything else that comes with playing these games and more frequently than like a one-off time. So I think it'll be an interesting view of like how to translate that. And if she does it successfully, I think it could be very good for her.
Yeah, I think she seems like super likable, and I can see people wanting to go far with her just from her social, like she's gonna have like a stellar social game.
she wants to play that mama bear role. She said,
Period.
meet me. She's like, she in her meet, she's like, she wants to gravitate towards the younger generation because she thinks it's important to engage in the life of like, young people and know how they interact with different age groups. So I want to like, that's going to be interesting to watch when she plays this game. I definitely see her getting at least to the merge.
The merge and jury for her.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think definitely merge, and I feel like she'll probably get sniped eventually for being too likable.
I see a subtle 9th place in Allie's future.
Yeah, I would say like a merge boot to like mid merge. I see that for her only because I don't have a lot to go off on, so that's where I see her.
All right. So this next person is a coach, also fairly new. His name is Bruce Wright. He is from Dallas, Texas. He goes by he, him. He is 30 years old. He's played 2 orgs. I think 3. I don't because he didn't mention the third. He played Double Cross. He played Operational Survivor on Discord and a Big Brother game. And I think 2 out of the 3 he's made it to the finale.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's impressive.
Bruce W. seen here, ready to help you take out a second mortgage on your house.
He seems like a nice guy. I mean, again, this is someone that I do not know. I've never seen him play, but again, like the fact that he's gotten to the finale multiple times in the few amount of games that he's played, that's extremely impressive. And to me, that's probably someone who's going to put a lot of effort and he's going to put a lot into this game, which is good. So who knows? I don't.
Yeah, I don't know him. I don't know him.
Just going based off his picture. I mean, he looks like a nice guy.
I don't know Bruce at all.
Sorry, Bruce.
I really do apologize. I can't even like recognize your face, which is like usually hey, I've seen you around. I've never seen Bruce in my life. If I saw him in a game, like if I was watching the premiere and I was like, hey, oh, Bruce is coming up next, I would be like, this man has to be first or second boot for me. Like he just doesn't like I see his image and I'm like, oh, me and him are not gonna get along. I don't know him, but if he's obviously made it to the finale 2 out of 3 times, he obviously has a social game did he lose both of them? Is that what it is?
He finished, actually, sorry, in Operation Survival, he finished 5th. And the Big Brother game, he finished 3rd.
Okay.
He technically the finale. And
Like he was able to make it far. So he's only played like 30 games. So I think that's pretty impressive. I can't say much about Bruce though because I don't know him. So
I also don't know Bruce. Trained alert. But I get the impression that he is someone who is going to lay low for a bit and then really go full force later in the game. Seeing as how he got 3rd place in Big Brother, a placement that is like, if you're not like winning the season, you would take out the person you think is winning the season most of the time. So seeing that, I'm like, oh, okay, so he has definitely potential. Maybe he needs to make sure that his threat level's good, make sure that he's, just tying up loose ends, per se.
You're muted.
Muted.
I'm a dumb bitch. Hopping on the trend, I also have never seen Bruce in my life before, but I mean, you have to do something to get that far, and like, if you usually it's an especially good sign if someone gets like 5th, 4th, 3rd, because that's the person that no one wanted in the end, which usually means that they were probably going to win. So I see him potentially being a late merge boot, but if there's anyone who knows his reputation in this game, he could be an earlier boot than that because people might try to take a swing sooner than later.
Yeah.
I
How old is
Yeah.
Bruce?
30.
30.
I could definitely see him being, he could be like one of the big players this season. I could see that from him.
I see him being pre-merge. As someone who watches Meet Me video, I think he said a lot about his gameplay. And if people are basing off that, I think he could be a early merge boot, early boot. So
That can hurt him.
yeah,
I mean, it depends. I mean, it depends on his tribe. And if he helping them win challenges, which I mean, he looks like he's probably good at challenges. So if he's good at challenges, his tribe might want to keep him. So
He gives me leadership qualities.
Yeah.
And I think leadership qualities, not a lot of the rest of our cast are going to be people that I would say that about. And I don't mean that in a negative way. There's, the world is made up of people that lead and otherwise. I do think that alone will get him to the merge. And it'll be very interesting to see how he goes up against the other sharks in this game.
Period. All right, so our next queen, she is from Jamaica, but resides in Canada. Chrisanne.
Canadians represent.
Oh. She is 25. She has played 4 orgs, and her best placement is 6. She goes by she, her pronouns. I don't really know Chrisanne like that, but I know she's kind of known in some parts of the community.
I saw her play in CTC recently, and she was done so dirty. Like, she was so fucking robbed. I was so upset to see her go as early as she did. Apparently my dog Callie was too. I think that she has a lot of potential to be a super strong player, and I am excited to see her play this game.
And Chrisanne H is seen here saying, "Now I know you are not returning your library books late to me." Best I got for this one. I don't know. She looks very poised, and I think that she's going to. I think that she's going to blend in really well with her tribe as far as communicating with them, and I think she looks like a team player.
Chrisanne is an icon. I kept up with her during Amethyst. She got, I think that was her 6th place game, if I remember correctly. I know that she had been getting a lot of early boots as of recently. But I think with her slowing down and just focusing, and I think this is the only game she's playing right now. So I think that she is in it to win it. I know Chrisanne has a great social game. So I think that Chrisanne can really go far if she wants to.
I only really know Chrisanne from CTC, and I remember her elimination. She mentioned that she loved the shade of MAC lipstick, and I remember typing in the chat, "You're welcome," as my name's Mac. I also love her action shot. It's just goofy and silly, and as someone who has gotten a lot of early boots, including Inferno Season 1, come on, Pork Chop Parker. Just saying like, oh, I've been like an early out in my last game, that immediately can lower people's threat level, especially if you're nice and charming and talking a lot. So she could use that to her advantage.
Jeremy, you're muted.
Once again.
I'm just gonna stop muting. Keeping the trend going, don't really know Chrisanne, but she looks like an icon. And honestly, someone said that she had a funny action video, and having a poised cast photo and then a funny action video to make yourself seem relatable, great way to start the game. I'll give her that.
I feel like with everything that we all said, I feel like she would at least make it at least 7th.
Yeah.
I got a better
I can
one.
see mid merge.
I would say like mid-merge.
Yeah, mid-merge. Chrisanne H here looking at you like she's not mad, she's just disappointed.
Better, much better.
She kind of gives me wild card energy in terms of her placement. You know, she's been an early out a few times and she could continue that. Or, you know, she may surprise people and be like, oh, I'm gonna get that top 6 again. So, you never know.
Never know.
I could see her falling victim to being voted out as a decoy vote.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like their main target,
Ouch.
you want to go after the main target, so you go after the decoy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're like advantaged out.
Yeah.
That. All right. So this next person, I'm pretty sure, is the youngest one in this cast. Oh, yeah. Being age 20 from Colorado Springs, Colorado, we have Corey. He played CTC and won, and he also won Survivor Animation. And he's been in the org community for a while.
I was super stoked when I saw that Corey applied because I did watch when he won in CTC. And I think he's a phenomenal player. So it'll be super exciting to see see him play from a production standpoint. I do worry that since he's been doing so well in his recent games, that might affect him negatively. But I mean, maybe not. I mean, I don't know how much people will know, but yeah, I'm really excited to see Corey play.
Corey P, as seen here on his vote for me button for student council president. I played with him in the what was the name of that game that I played? It was a mini, and
It was
for
the Paranoia Mini.
the Paranoia Mini,
to
the
help
tribute,
fundraise
yeah,
for Melissa.
for to help fundraise for Melissa. And he's just a bright, vibrant person and exudes charisma. And even in a short like thing like a mini, was like immediately drawn to him and was like, man, this is a guy I want to work with. Because he comes off so unassuming, but he's very, very intelligent. So I think that Corey P is going to give Alex a run for his money.
I do forgot to mention he does go by he, him pronouns. My apologies there.
Corey is very smart and like I think like you can see it, but you also don't see it when you look at him. Like on one hand, you can see smart, but on the other hand, people see like, oh, he's especially since maybe it'll have an impact in the game, but he is the youngest. He looks the youngest. Maybe that'll have an impact. I know Corey and Grace when they played um Honor versus Revenge, they were really close. And I know Corey is a very smart player. And I definitely agree with Topher. I think if anyone right now has I think Corey has one of the better chances of going super, super far in this game.
I was the one to conduct Corey's interview, and Corey was just very funny throughout. Made me giggle a few times when I was muted. They definitely, I have one of the more like the most hope for Corey in this game. Just like looking at the cast and like the reputation, like I know Corey a bit. Um, so I think I could see Corey doing well if they come across as a threat too much, or if people like this person's won twice. People might be like, sorry, Corey. Um, but who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, I once again don't know Corey, but in this case, I have at least heard of Corey's reputation, which is what worries me. But it's one of those situations where I'm like, it can be offset by a really incredible personality, but it also could just be a sinkhole that he can't get out of. So I feel like if Corey isn't like one of the first three boots, he's probably going to be in the final five at least.
I also agree. I feel like he's going to be at that top five, top four kind of situation.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a merge. He's making it to merge.
I definitely see him make it out. I agree with Jeremy wholeheartedly. I think if he does it, if he's not out early, he's there for the long run.
Out of everyone on this cast, there's 3 people who I could see winning this game. Corey's one of them.
All right, well, that's it with Corey. Our next one is a queen. I think we all know her. She is a recent winner of Seb Cordero's game, Miss Gianna Reed. She is 35 from Cincinnati, Ohio. She has been in the org community for 7 years, has gotten first in a couple games, second, and fourth.
I love Gianna. Gianna is such a sweet person, just so genuine and just she's always gives it her all in every game she plays. And you can really tell when you talk to her that she really is putting her all in every single game. Which is why she has gotten far many a time. On the flip side, I have also seen Gianna go early. So I'm very interested to see how this goes. I've played with her where she's gotten early boots. I think I hosted her in applause, right?
Mhm. But she also got an early boot.
Yeah, so she's I don't know. I love Gianna. I think she's a fantastic player. So I'm excited to see how she does with this cast.
Yeah, I think that Gianna is gonna be somebody that the rest of the cast is not gonna see coming. I really think that with this cast, we might see people with there might be a certain caliber of wanting to take out stronger players first, and people not realizing that Gianna is a stronger player. So I think that might work to her benefit that she's been an early boot in several seasons, despite the fact that she did just win Distortion.
GG is an icon. I love her so much. And I wholeheartedly agree with Jen. I've played with her where she's gotten early boots. I just played a game with her. It's literally like a week ago where she got first boot. But also she knows how to fight her way out of a situation. She caused a revote on the first vote of the season of that game. And I think Gigi, I think Topher said it best. I think people will always look at the bigger threats, but they will always undermine Gigi until she gets to that point where she has the potential to win, and they will still overlook her. And that's exactly what happened in Distortion. And that could happen here in Inferno. When Gigi is committed to a game, she gives it to her all and she gets far. But it's just a matter of if she'll be 100% to getting far. And if other people won't just be like, oh, she won Distortion and try to go after her.
Someone who played Distortion with her when she won. I agree with what people have been saying. GG, or as how I like to name her, Good Game. She is. There could be 17 nasty villains, and she will be the shining light that is just wholesome to speak with. And one thing I would like to see from her is maybe a more strategic side. She is a lovely social being, and sometimes she can play with her heart. But I would like to see a strategic side to her. And she's another wild card. She could easily snatch the crown. She could be one of the early boots. She could be literally anywhere. It all depends on how things shake up and how people view her.
I agree. I feel like Gigi is one of those players. Well, honestly, looking at this cast, there's a lot of really, really social people on it. And so I feel like Gigi will be able to use that to her advantage to blend into the crowd of social people and thereby lower her threat level. So I think that she actually probably will go far in this season.
I definitely agree. She is definitely a wild card as far as placements. I feel like she could be like Max said. I agree with what Max said. She's an icon. She's a legend. What you see is what you get from Gigi. If you get sad Gigi, you get sad Gigi. If you get mad Gigi, you get mad Gigi. There's no in between. What you see is what you get. Um, I definitely love her. I adore her so much. I played games with her, and she's real with you. She will keep it a buck with you. Um, all right. This next person is also a fellow Ohioan. Does that make sense? She is 26, goes by she, her pronouns, and it is Jazzy. And she's played a lot of orgs. She's fairly new to this side. She's played a lot of Twitter games. She's played Distortion, she's played Applause, and we have Jazzy.
I love Jazzy. Obviously she is a queen, another sweetheart. But don't get on her bad side because she will cut you if she needs to. She has snazzy in her where she will snake you. But no one sees it coming because she is just so sweet. So I hope that we see a lot of that in this game.
Jazzy H seen here hosting her best Tupperware party. Ready to fucking slay. She is a very sweet human being. She's did her interview live and in person, which is crazy. But I think that she's got the charisma to make it through. I see her making merge.
Jazzy is great because I think Jen said it best. Like Jazzy always chooses to be a villain in these games, and yet no one really like picks up on it. Jazzy's like one of the sweetest, yet one of the most evil people I've ever like seen in a game. And I think I can work out for her in this cast. I know a lot of these people, like the people who are in the game that know her, some of them have been like snaked by Jazzy before. So I hope that people like just don't be like, oh, that's gonna be snazzy, because if people have played with Jazzy, they know that snazzy doesn't come out until you cause snazzy to come out. So as long as they're not automatically gonna jump on the gun and be like, hey, Jazzy's here to snake us all, and that's gonna be then like Jazzy will be forced to play that early, which I've never seen before. I've always seen Jazzy like try to be like sneaky, like maybe a quarter to halfway through, but like it'll be interesting to see if she ends up trying to do it in the beginning of the game because a lot of people in this cast do know who Jazzy is.
I love Jazzy Snazzy, the Diana Agron of the All community. I have played with her twice. She placed, I believe, 9th and 6th, maybe. Um, I'm a big fan of her. If you're like extremely loyal to her, she'll be loyal to you back. If it makes sense for her game, she will flip on her alliance if it makes sense for her game. And she's not afraid to make fake final twos. She is someone to watch out for. She's not as innocent as her cast photo seems. Um, love her to death. I would like to see her go very deep in this game.
Um, Despite what I'm about to say, I am such a Jazzy stan, it's not even funny. However, I played with Jazzy twice, and both of those times I was the HOH that sent her home because she was basically inactive. And so my like biggest hope is that she comes in here guns ablazing, ready to play and like be her social, bubbly, lovely human being self. Because if she does, she will rule the roost. And if she doesn't, she'll probably be early out. But if she's here to play, she's playing hard and she's gonna go far.
The one thing that I love about Jazzy, as someone who's played with her twice and has gone to the jury twice with her in the game, is she will snake you, but you go into that jury loving her. That is like her best thing in these games, and love her. I think she's gonna go far.
I will say that's not always true because I know in Distortion, no one was a fan of Snazzy going into the jury. But I think that that was also because like with the no swaps, Jazzy became snazzy real quick, and a lot of people weren't expecting it. So there was that. But I think I agree with Jeremy. Jazzy's been in her inactive era, not recently, but Jazzy has her inactive eras. I don't think this is one of them, though. So I see her making merge at least.
I also want to quickly touch up is that I think what the one thing she really needs to work on is like she needs to make sure if she's gonna do something like flipping that she doesn't do it in a really nasty way and that she can like kind of mean to relationships. If she can do that, pull that off and people aren't like super angry at her, she may snatch the crown.
Agree. All right, moving on. Another Jersey boy. We have Jonah. He is, or we have Jesse, sorry, from Canada,
Not a
Newfoundland.
Jersey boy.
um, she goes by she, her, and she's played a lot of these orgs. You know, she hosts her own lip sync race. Um, and yeah, we love Jesse in this house.
I think Jesse. Oh my god, I'm about to sneeze. Jesse. I'm excited to see Jesse play. I think something that'll be interesting is the fact that Jazzy and Jesse not only met 2 weeks ago, but shared a room. They were roommates. So
Roommates.
obviously they know each other, they've met in real life. So I'm curious to see if that um has any effect on either of their games. I know that there are people on this cast that know that they are good friends. So um I'm excited and interested to see that dynamic.
Jessie F, seen here quite literally just coming back from her Florida vacation. I have never seen Jessie play. So
Really?
I do not know what to expect, but I think that Jessie is going to be able to maintain under the radar status long enough to just get out of some sticky situations.
I want to start this by saying, Jesse, when you see this, I love you a lot. I think Jesse's weakness is also a plus, but it does end up becoming, to the human eye in the game, it comes off as a negative, and it's that Jesse's really social, but people just don't see it. And that's weird to say. Like, I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not getting a lot from Jesse. Like, even though Jesse could be like the most social player in the game. I think Jesse is phenomenal at getting out of terrible positions in games. I think she could be in any bad position and she'll find a way to either get out of it or find to make a deal. And like, but I just hope that Jesse can come into this game and make really strong relationships, not good, strong relationships with people, so that she can like make a group and get to that point. But I don't know if I'm gonna see that from Jesse. I hope, but I don't know. So
I have the pleasure of playing with GC at least 4 times, including my two first orgs I played in was with GC. I've seen her being early out. I've seen her make it to the end. I've been her final two and cut her. Oops. And I have just seen her blossom throughout my all career as like her as a player. Um, I think she's definitely one of the more under the radar players, not someone who's going to be like at tribal shouting at people. That I don't get that vibe from GC. But I think that she is smart, and if she's just a little more vocal with people, people will want to keep her around.
Yeah, I have never seen Jessie play a game, so I don't know a whole lot about her gameplay. But based off of what I'm hearing y'all saying, I think in a cast like this, where there's so many like social players, and it seems like Jesse is going to be another one of those kind of under the radar social players. Um, the biggest thing is to like still make sure that people are aware of where you stand. Because, like, for me, the biggest fear in a game is a question mark. If I don't know where you stand, then I can't trust you. And so, like, having a balance of like holding your cards close, but also letting people know where you stand will probably benefit her in the long run. And I hope that she goes far because I love Jessie. But I honestly, wild card, could literally place anywhere, and I would be like, oh, okay.
Definitely agree with everyone with their points on Jessie. As someone who's played 2 games with Jessie, her social game is there, and just like Jeremy said, I also think she is a wild card as far as placements. She can go out early, she can go far, but if I have to make an initial right now, she would probably be like, I would say first juror. Once the merge hits, she's gone type of person. Alrighty. Now, okay. Alrighty. Now we got the Jersey boy, Jonah. He is 20. He's 26. Goes by he, him pronouns. He, I think this is his first game back. He's played games before. I played I Love Money with him twice. Um, and he's ready to play a game again.
Jonah, to me, looks like somebody who is going to be very passionate about this game. However, I think that that might not be in his favor as much. I can see him playing too hard, too fast. That's just the vibe. I don't know Jonah, but that's just the vibe that I get. He looks very smart, and that can be super threatening, especially if he doesn't manage that threat level. So I can see him. Hopefully he goes far, but I can see him going a little bit more on the earlier side.
Going just off of our previous I Love Money contestants, I Love Money does not seem to translate very well to Survivor, and the understanding of the dynamic of how Survivor works. So I'll be very curious to see what his experience in I Love Money does for him and does against him in this game.
So I'm very iffy on Jonah, just on like personal game stuff. Like, so I had played him. I met Jonah through a mini, and then we had got revealed to be on the same cast for a game about a month later. And in his intro video, he was like, "I'm coming for you, Seb, if you're playing," and then literally targeted me and Grace. So Jonah he's there from the game we played. He only won that one H2H and went after people who were trying to work with him. I know Jonah's a cool person outside of games, but in games, I think Jonah just needs to touch just that blade of grass because I fully agree with Jen. He takes these games way too seriously. I think he plays them way too hard, and I think if he plays this game the way he played the game I played with him, he's going like third or fourth boot, especially with the way that he plays too, because he like tries to be social, but like it's not like I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop. I don't think Jonah's gonna do well. That's where I'm at right now.
Okay, so I don't know Jonah. Jonah appears passionate from what I've heard. Uh, Jonah is from the cast photo is a tall, more of the lankier side, glasses and dark hair. And last time we casted someone like that, they won. So who knows? I hope that Jonah can if they are kind of like heated or are playing with emotions at times in this game, I hope they can like take a step back and just breathe and then look at the situation they're in and just find a logic way to get out of if they're in like a little bit of a muck. um but yeah, I would love to see how Jonah does.
Jonah's also a 10 gauger, and that should say enough.
Oh, oh my God, not that.
Jonah,
Um, I don't know Jonah, but based off of what I have heard, I feel like, especially with a cast like this, if he goes too off the wall too soon, he's gonna get a big old bullseye targeted right on his back. So, probably early pre-jury.
I would also like to say, like, when it comes to Survivor, if you're in a tribe that's really quiet and you're the loudest person, you can go home. If you're on a tribe with really loud people and you're the quietest person, you can go home. So you kind of have to like look at the vibes of
Read the
the
room.
camp, and read the room. So I hope that Jonah can do that.
Oh, and Jonah S. seen here looking a little bit too eager to be at the DMV.
I
The
I
Well,
definitely agree as far as placement. I think he doesn't go far because he does play too hard and he does take these games too seriously as someone who's played with him. He says he's a social player, but just like Jesse, it's not shown enough for me at least. Um, but yeah, I think he will probably be a pre-merger.
Pre-merge.
pre-merge.
Jean thought I was winning and I was first boot, so expect the unexpected.
Yeah, I hope Jonah goes far. I hope Jonah proves everybody on this call wrong.
When Jonah gets the Mac placement, then what happens?
They share same placement.
Only icons get that placement, so
That's true.
then why are you there?
Next person, next
Anyways.
person, next person.
anyways,
All right.
They're fighting.
Right?
This next person is from South Carolina, goes by she, her pronouns, 31 years old. We have Miss Lauren. Can you go? Miss Lauren. She's played a few orgs. She can't count how many because it's too much, but her best placements have been fourth in Conflict, second in the Survivor Random, and second in Triumph. Yes, Seb.
Sorry, Chopper was coughing. I love watching Lauren. I've never met her personally, but I have seen her play multiple games that she's been in, and she's just someone that I always find myself rooting for. And she seems like a really nice person. And I can see her going very far as well.
Yeah. Lauren B seen here saying, yes, it was me. I don't know her. I've never heard of her. I have heard things. No, I've heard nothing. I've got nothing on her at all.
What vibes do you get off of her cast picture?
She seems like a fun person.
Apparently, she don't know, so we don't know.
She don't
She's
know.
shrugging.
Wait.
So I will say I know that Lauren and Jonah are friends. So
Oh.
yeah, because they're both 10 gaugers.
Oh,
And they're like they run in the same, not in the same circle, but I know that Jonah and Lauren know each other and are friends. So that might be an impact on the game. But I know Lauren has played a bunch of games recently. She played Distortion. She didn't make it too far, but I know that in other games she has made it far. And I know if Lauren Lauren has a strategy, and if she sticks to it, she usually gets pretty far. So I could see Lauren making merge if she continues that path.
So I've played with Lauren either once or twice. I can't remember. But when I think of Lauren, I think of like a kind of like a Gigi type. Someone who is more on the quieter side. Um, and I would love to see how she does. She can be a hero, she can be a villain. What she's gonna do, we don't know. And from her cast photo, she doesn't know either. And that's okay.
An interesting thing that Seb said, no, that Lauren and Jonah know each other. They're actually on the same tribe, so that's going to be an interesting dynamic. Um,
I've seen this story before.
and one of them won.
he,
I
as someone who played Hypnotic with Lauren, who is very inactive, so I'm hoping she isn't inactive this season. Um, because she had a good start from the beginning, but then once we got to like second, third, fourth week, her inactiveness went high and she got booted. So I hope it doesn't bite her in the ass. Jeremy, if you're talking, you're muted.
I wasn't saying anything, but
Oh,
I don't know Lauren, but I wish her well in the game and hope that she makes it far.
all right. So this next person is from Washington State, USA, as they have written it in the application form. He goes by he, him pronouns. He is 26 and loves to party in the USA. Mr. Lawrence. He's played a few games. He played Red Hot, Seat, got third, and he's usually an early boot. And according to his application, he says he always hates people always hates him from the start, um, which is sad. Spread love, not hate.
Period. I've never met Lawrence, but the only thing I've seen from him was his run in Distortion. So hopefully this game goes a lot better than that. Actually, was it Distortion? Didn't him and someone else on this cast that hasn't been named yet have a little thing? Or am I making that up in my head?
Yes, and we'll get to that later.
Yeah, okay. So I hope that Lawrence does better in this game than he has in the past. I feel like sometimes people don't give Lawrence a fair shot. Sorry, he's not feeling great. Yeah, so I hope people give Lawrence more of a shot than they have in other games, because I would like to see Lawrence go far.
Lawrence C, as pictured here on the VH1 edition of Yo MTV Raps. He
says he's hated immediately, right? And I don't know if that's because he's intentionally starting stuff with people to make himself be hated, or if it's coming from a place of not truly understanding what's going wrong in his game. And I'm hoping that he can channel that energy into creating, because this is a very social cast. So you're going to have your social game on high. And I think Lawrence, if he's going to come in and he's going to be loud and he's going to be abrasive, I think he's going to have a really hard time with some of the quieter players of this tribe, and they're not going to be vibing.
I just want to say I love Lawrence a lot. I really enjoyed hosting him when in Distortion. Distortion was his first Skype org, and he took a chance on a small little org that was Legends of the Hidden Temple themed, and he said, I will be playing that game. And Lawrence is one of the most iconic people to ever play Distortion. He gave us, the Party in the USA moment, whether intentional or not. I say all this by saying I think Lawrence is going to get first boot. Just hosting him, I know that, and it sucks because I don't think all of it is his fault. I think that's just who Lawrence is. He's a loud character. He likes to be like not the center of attention. He loves to talk to people, but it's not in like the social gameplay way. It's like he just likes to talk on calls, and sometimes like it could come off as like, too much, or like he could start talking over people. Or in Lawrence's case, in Distortion, he can absolutely cause their tribe to go to tribal. I hope that Lawrence does better. I know like he isn't the worst player in the world. I've definitely seen worse players than Lawrence. But I know that his abrasive I know he could be abrasive and loud, and that really scares a lot of people in games. I hope he does well, but I truly think he's gonna get first boot. I love you, King.
When I see Lawrence's cast photo, two words pop into my mind, which is, "Aw, man." I think Lawrence is someone who isn't. I'm not sure if Lawrence is able to blend the vibe with people if everyone's like quite quiet. I think Lawrence is gonna stick out like a sore thumb. If it's a very loud group, it could be a case of too many chefs in the kitchen. I don't know. I was gonna say chefs in the cooking, but um, I I I think Lawrence could be an early out, but Lawrence could also be surprise all of us.
Yeah. Sorry, go. What did you want to say something, Seb?
Oh no, I was waiting for you to say you don't know Lawrence.
Oh, I mean, I have never met Lawrence, but I have at least seen Lawrence in VLs, like interacting with people and stuff. And this is what I will say, and this is not directed at Lawrence specifically, but more like generally speaking. If you're consistently getting first, second, third boot in a game that frequently, at a certain point, you have to consider the fact that it could be your own actions that are causing it. And the fact that even in his application, he's blaming other people for it, which I'm not saying is not the case. Like, there probably are times where people are just like, Lawrence, get rid of him. But like, you you have to be doing something to make people feel that way, or else they wouldn't feel that way. So like, maybe take a look at that instead of just like blaming people and then hoping that things change without actually changing anything.
Could be another case of like, just step back, take a deep breath, and focus on a more logical point of things instead of just being like play the blame game. If
Yeah.
if that happens.
As someone who has played recently, fairly recently with Lawrence, shout out to Hypnotic. As someone who's also taken out Lawrence on my own HRA train, I see why he usually gets an early boot. He, as someone who's also did his interview, he wants to bring the chaos. I will say he's probably going to be one of the entertaining people in this cast. Not going to lie. He wants that chaos. He wants the drama. He wants to put fractures into people's gameplays. I think it's good to have that, but I don't think it's good to start off chaotic. Because that's what happened in Hypnotic. He spammed the fuck out of me, calling me like blah blah blah. So if he can tone it down and probably wait till like mid like once the merge hits, I think that's a good time to like cause chaos within the entire cast. But as far as my initial like placement wise, I have hope. I want him to go far. I want to see progress in his placements. But with this cast, I don't know. I think he's definitely going to be an early boot.
I wanna agree with something Jeremy said. I know in Distortion that when they had lost the challenge, that was obviously Lawrence's fault that they lost. Lawrence blamed everyone from Brian De Leon to Henry. Yeah, Henry. They blamed the guy who was answering the questions that he was giving the information to for losing the challenge. To Ali, to a bunch of other people in that tribe. They were like he was blaming like almost everyone, and it was like just be like, hey, I like messed up, and he was still probably would have been voted out, but like it's better than blaming Brian, who sat out of the challenge, than or Henry, who took a chance and said, hey, I'll answer the questions, like than yourself. So I agree with Jeremy. A lot of the times he just doesn't take accountability in the games. So it's definitely his downfall for a lot of it. But great lip syncer.
All right, we're gonna move on. Coming from the Twitter community, we have Lewis Thorpe. Lewis is from Manchester, UK. He is 23 years old and he's only played mini, so he is new to the Skype community. Love Lewis. He was actually one of two people I was shocked who applied. Like Lewis and I didn't have a good pass, and when I saw his application, I was like, "Y'all, look at this." I was shook.
I too was very shook. Again, like Sean said, Lewis doesn't do long-term orgs. I've only seen Lewis in minis. I've known Lewis for as long as I've done orgs in minis. We met back in the semester days. And I haven't really talked to Lewis in a long time. Like there's nothing, we don't have any like bad history. We just like drifted ways. So I was so shocked and so happy to see his application. So I'm very, very interested to see how Lewis plays. Because I think like seeing him play in minis, like he's good. So I'm really, really excited to see that translate into a long-term game.
Yeah, me and Lewis have like a long history. We've played a handful of minis together. Lewis has always been good to me. He's really good people. Lewis is a huge wrestling fan. As am I. And so like we always like bonded over that. And so sorry, I'm like sick. And so like yeah, I really am excited to see how Lewis plays. I think he's gonna get along great with everybody, and I think Lewis is a hell of a guy, and I'm glad that he's on this cast.
Topher, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Anyways, I don't this is where I steal Jeremy's shtick and I say I don't know Lewis. I know of Lewis because I had played a couple Twitter minis, so I know of Lewis. I know he does Big Brother Culture Clash on Twitter. Like I know that. But other than that, I don't know Lewis. I know I know he's a big wrestling fan too because we're Facebook friends. But other than that, don't know anything about Lewis. I don't know how he plays the minis. I don't know how he's gonna translate that to orgs. I'm just gonna say that because he's new on the Skype community and looking at this cast, I don't think anyone was an active Twitter like player. Like no one was like except for Jazzy, and Jesse. Other than those two, I don't think anyone on this cast is gonna be like, oh, Lewis, yeah, from Twitter. They're just gonna be like, oh, Lewis, like I've never seen him before. So
I don't know Lewis. I am not a part of the Twitter side of the community. What I'm really excited to see is one, how will he translate his mini kind of mindset into a very long game of an org, and two, I wonder how Lewis is going to do with Jesse and Jazzy also being on the cast. That's two things I would like to find out.
I will say Jesse and Lewis are on the same tribe, so that's another interesting pair, maybe.
Oh,
I
wait a minute, wait a minute. You're all gonna be shocked to hear this one. I don't know Lewis.
wow.
Whoa, shocking. But minis and long-term orgs are very, very, very different beasts in that long-term orgs are a fucking marathon. And it is very easy to burn yourself from both ends because people do compare notes. And in a mini, you don't have time to compare notes. So, like, if he can pare back the gameplay that he can do in a mini to make it work in a long-term org and not make himself seem too threatening or playing too hard too fast, then I think he could probably go far.
I am with that being said too, like in regards to it being a marathon and not a sprint, and something that he like Lewis is going to it's going to be a factor for him is the fact that he lives in England, he's British. So I think everyone else in the game is in America. So that time difference alone, I've seen it happen where it does affect you, and just your ability to communicate with the other people in the game and stuff happening when you may be sleeping or whatever. So hopefully that doesn't affect Lewis too badly.
I will say Lewis, his sleeping schedule is on American time. When I did his interview, he said that he is now basically an American because his time frame of going to sleep is the same as ours. So I do hope he stays true that, and if it does, it will help him even more to, I guess, get on the good pace of the game and um go far. As far as placement, I see Lewis getting robbed right before the merge.
I can see that too.
I would say, like, if not, then first merge boot potentially.
I could see Lewis being the gag first boot of the season. Like, oh my god, no one's gonna see it coming. But also like maybe like a Mac where like, like you could be socially okay with everyone, but the one person who has control of the tribe doesn't think that they're in your good graces, or like they don't think you're good for their game, and like boom, you're out.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm gonna be the winner of Inferno. All right. Next up, flying in from Arkansas, we have Marvin. Oh, oh,
Oh,
oh.
not spoiler.
We have Marvin. He is 28, goes by he and pronouns. And he's played quite a few orgs. And I'm not gonna list them because he listed every single org he has played. Recently he's been playing live reality games. So that's another factor. Like, I want to see what dynamic he can bring in from the live games he's learned into an org. So yeah.
I've played with Marvin. I've seen Marvin play. I have hosted Marvin. He's a super nice guy. But in my experience,
I'm sorry.
it's okay. In my personal experience with Marvin, he tends to be inactive, which usually leads to him being an early boot, which is unfortunate because like he is fierce when he puts it all in there. Like, I mean, I know LRGs are a lot different than orgs, but like I watched him play Ascendance and he slayed in Ascendance. But again, I've also played in games with him where he literally doesn't talk literally at all. And like you question whether or not he's ever gonna say anything ever again. So I don't know. It just depends on how Marvin's feeling that week, I guess.
Does this person have free time? My God, they have played in 80 freaking orgs, man. Like, come on, brah. What are you doing? Like, I just don't even, yeah. So good luck, Marvin. I hope for your sake that my question is this the only game Marvin's playing right now? Because none of these are happening. Like, this is not consecutive, right? So I think that strongly affects Marvin's game of if he is currently doing better in another game, then he's not going to give this game the attention that it needs to succeed.
Yeah, I was just about to bring this up because I'm playing Ascendance the org right now, and Marvin is also playing Ascendance with me. I know Marvin is playing at least 2 other Facebook games right now. I don't know about any others or whatever. I know Marvin is playing those 2 Facebook games plus Ascendance and now Inferno. So it's just a matter of I agree though. Where the hell does Marvin get this freaking time? Like and Marvin's been pretty social with me in Ascendance, which is why I'm like, how do you like? Marvin doesn't wake up until like 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and yet he still is like socially good with everyone in a way. Like, and I think that's freaking crazy. But I agree. As much as people say they don't do this, everyone does it. If you're playing 2 games and you feel you have a better chance at one of them, you're not going to pay attention to the other. And so if Marvin feels he has a better chance at one of these Facebook games or Ascendants, he's just going to go jump ship and he's not going to care. So, and plus Marvin is known to like go inactive for like days on end in games. So, I just hope that that doesn't happen to Marvin. Also, I thought Marvin played last season. That was David. So
Who's David?
David had a prior engagement, so he will not be on this season. He's got a prior
He's busy.
engagement.
But maybe Marvin is too. I don't know.
I have never played a orc with Marvin, but I see him around a lot, mainly in LRGs because he loves to apply to them. Um, Seb kind of hinted at it, but I could see Marvin being the David of the season where he may go inactive and people may be like, oh, well, let's just get rid of him. But people like, no, we'll keep him around. And, David made it a little further than people expected. Production as well. But who knows? If Marvin cares about this game, then he will show up and show out.
Yeah, I hosted Marvin in a game, and the only reason that it was a while ago, but I'm pretty sure the only reason that he made it as far as he did is because it was a challenge org and he kept winning the elimination challenges because he was up almost every single week. But not because he was inactive, it was because everyone saw him as the biggest threat. So everyone was just after his throat every single round to get him out, and it never worked. So, um, if he brings that, maybe he'll be like on an immunity streak and just never get voted out.
You get a hit or miss from Marvin. I feel like everyone here has given good points to why Marvin is a good player and given why Marvin can be a potential pre-merge boot. As someone who's known Marvin for quite some time, I've known Marvin since the Instagram community, and his gameplay has evolved in a way where I'm like, okay, your placements, as far as like placements, I don't know where you would stand. Like, he can go far. He can be first boot. He can be right before the merge. He can be the first merge boot. So I hope Marvin is active and doesn't have a prior engagement. Okay. Moving on is a newer player to the community. She is a queen. She's from Houston, Texas. Goes by she, her, 28. And this is her first org in Morgan.
So Morgan is my IRL. She is one of my really good friends. We met working at Disney like 10 years ago. And we've been friends ever since. We were roommates at one point. She was roommates with my sister at one point. I actually got her into Survivor. I think like around like during the pandemic, she went on like a pretty big binge. And so she's, yeah, this is her first game ever. She literally like I lived with her during the pandemic. So like I would be in my room like playing minis and shit, and she would like peer in and be like, "Are you okay in there?" Because I would be getting so like heated and shit. So it was very interesting to me when she like approached me and like inquired about it. I wasn't expecting it, but I'm super excited about it because she has become like such a big Survivor fan. And I think Morgan's a very social person. So I think that if Morgan puts in the effort, she has the potential to go far. Like it's giving Jess from last season. That's my vibe. None of you guys know her. So that's her work schedule is like so crazy. So my biggest concern with her is going to be if she is able to put the time into it. But I think if she puts the time into it, she'll do great at the challenges and she will do great socially. So I'm very excited to see her play. Oprah's dying.
I agree,
God.
Topher. That's exactly how I feel. I'll go next, I guess. If I remember correctly, Sean, you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. I met this icon at the wedding. She was sitting at the table that me and Sean were forced at.
Yes, that's correct.
That's correct. I remember we were having a nice little org conversation, and like she wasn't trying to tell people she was playing at org, but she was like, "Oh my god, they're so cool, guys! Like I watch Jen do them all the time." Like totally like, and me and Sean just gave each other a look. We were like, "Yeah." But no, she seemed really passionate at the wedding table about Survivor, and that's something that all orgers I feel need a little bit of, is passion for the game. And I just hope that, you know, Jen says she became like a fan, a really big fan. I just hope that she doesn't burn out too quickly, thinking that orgs are like the real thing, and that, you know, it's always like, I just don't want her becoming like either like someone who like burns out too quickly or someone becomes a game bot too fast. And especially with newbies game bots, like it just doesn't work out with people. I just hope that, you know, she kind of like goes in, but there's also someone else in the cast that, you know, might make her game a little more difficult, and we'll talk about them later. You know, I'm in my I know the next few people vibes, you know. But yeah, I think she has a good chance of going far, especially because if she's able to maintain the social gameplay as a newbie, she'll be able to go pretty far. But because of the other person that we're going to be talking about later, it'll be fun to watch.
So-
Trindler.
Oh,
Oh, sorry, you go. You can go, Topher.
okay. Yeah, just while I'm in between coughing fits here, I think Morgan has a lot of potential to be able to succeed in this game. I think that the question is how committed will she be? Because orgs can be very time consuming and they can become overwhelming. So she'll either thrive or I can see her completely checking out altogether. That's all I got.
So Trindler, we have Jen's IRL. Whoop, 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 whoop. Last time, in season 1, we had Jess who became a bit of a apprentice to the eventual winner, Josh, and we saw how that ended with Josh cutting her, and the question is, because Morgan knows someone who we will talk about soon, will we see this again? Will Morgan become that person's apprentice? And will they be able to become a fierce duo? Will one of them not make it? We shall see. Also love her cast photo.
She's so pretty.
Yeah, she's literally like so pretty. I don't understand. But keeping it trendy. I don't know Morgan, obviously, because she's like an IRL of Jen. But I think coming in as a newbie and having a familiar face is probably going to benefit her unless it becomes public knowledge too quickly. And then it will probably be her downfall because I don't know. I mean, she can totally surprise me, and I will eat my words if I'm wrong, but generally speaking, newbies don't have the adaptability in games to be able to bounce back from something like that once it happens. And if one of the two of them was going to take a fall for it, it would probably end up being her.
Definitely see it. I'm excited to see Morgan play. I want to see how, like, if we're gonna compare her to Jess. I feel like the difference is Jess was able to adapt so quickly, and I want to see if Morgan can one up Jess in this position, and hopefully she goes far. As far as placement, if she can actually put the time in and be social, I think she will make it far. Yeah. Moving on, we have someone from Jacksonville, Florida, who's an outdoor educator. They go by he, they pronouns, 24 years old, and has played orgs for a while. And it's Nick Watson.
I love Nick. They are an amazing person. I feel like every time I see Nick playing a game, I'm like, they're gonna win. Like, it's giving winner. Maybe maybe I feel that way because the first time I ever watched Nick play a game was a sequester mini that Topher was in, and Nick ended up winning that sequester mini. So they are just a very strong org player. Recently they slayed Distortion. Mac knows about that. And yeah, I'm excited to see Nick play.
Nick came into that sequester mini, by the way, as like an outsider, like from a team of like orgers that were all playing sequester.
which was very interesting because it was Family Feud themed. And I shared a tribe with Nick on I think the game was called Spotlight. I don't know. And Nick single-handedly won us the Hot in Here music video. So that's what I got for Nick. I'm sorry. I'm dying.
Nick is the icon of blackjack. Zach knows that very well. No, but for real, Nick is one of the best players to ever play Distortion. Super excited to see Nick in this cast. I know Nick is very well, and Nick says that, and me and Nick have this conversation all the time. Nick is really good at manipulating people to do what they want in games. And Nick's like, it's not manipulation, it's just telling people what to do and they do it. That's manipulation, Nick. Anyways, I'm like, Nick does it super well. And with the amount of like with the amount of like newbies, newer players, people who in my opinion are impressionable. Nick will definitely have a hand in that. Plus, Nick and Gigi, very close in Distortion. So if that comes up, I wouldn't be shocked. I think Nick has a good chance of making it far. I think Nick's getting third though, because that just seems like the track record Nick's been having lately. They get very far and they get cut at like seventh to third. It really sucks. If Nick makes it to the end, I don't see Nick not winning though. So
Nikki, the Maddie to my Cassie. Nick is someone who is very strong opinioned, has strong opinions. At Tribal Council, they are not afraid to call somebody out. They are not afraid to go up to you in a call and say, here's what we're doing. We have to vote this person and here's why. Manipulation, aka telling them what to do. Nick, I see going very far if they put in the time. One thing I will say is that they are going to be a little busy bee as a camp counselor, garden thingy coordinator job, and there's a chance that Nick may be inactive, which would be a bit of a goop. And if Nick is a bit of a goop, then I'll be battling this bitch in a future season. So bat. But no, I see Nick potentially doing very well, and very excited to how they'll do. I think they'll be good with Corey and Gigi, especially. Probably take out someone like Bruce first chance they get, and that may be like the big shock of the season.
Yeah, Nick is a lovely person outside of orgs. I I played with Nick once, and we are both cancers, and I can tell that we both.
Next to
You shaking your head,
Scorpio.
bitch.
Next to Scorpio.
Wait, really?
Yes.
You being dumb?
Nick
Oops.
exudes
Okay, there was
Scorpio
wait,
energy.
There was two people. Sorry, there was two people that I connected with for being cancers in that game. But anyways, Nick is very good at getting what they want. I also think that the way that Nick ruffles feathers is not going to be appreciated by some of the people in this game. And depending on how they decide to go about that, it could impact their game. But regardless, I see them going far because they're smart enough to pick up people that are newbies who don't know the reputations that follow all of these people in games and like all that kind of shit. And they'll get their claws in somewhere. And I don't think there's any world in which we see Nick going pre-merge.
As someone who's played two orgs with Nick, I think. The first time around we were on opposite sides. The second time it was really close, like we were close allies, and I had to cut them short. Sorry, I didn't use my DPOV on you, Nick. They are like I said, I think I agree with everyone that said what they said have to do with Nick. They're good at what they do. They're good at talking to people. I think they're also good at the verb at their when they talk to people, their verbiage and the use of vocabulary makes them smart. And Nick is definitely gonna go far. If Nick is not, because I know Nick's at camp. I hope camp doesn't hinder their activeness. Um, any last minute comments before we move on?
I mean, I just hope that Prod doesn't rig Nick to win, seeming as that Sean is a Prod member.
I feel like Nick's once it's final 7, Nick does not give a fuck about their threat level. They will win every single comp. They will do what they can, slice and dice, and cut the. I what's the end of that? I don't know. They're gonna slice and dice. Let's just say that.
Just like how they slayed you in blackjack. Moving on. The person has played 3 orgs and a mini, I think. Yes, 3 orgs and a mini. They're still kind of fairly new. Huge breaks in between each org. She's a queen. We have Miss Susie. She is from Florida. Hold on. Yeah, she is from Williamsburg, now lives in Florida. 31. Goes by she, her pronouns.
I just have to say, this cast picture, chef's kiss.
I wonder where she took it.
No, Susie is another IRL of mine. But this is not her first org. She's played a couple and she's done all right. She is still learning. She's still learning for sure. Especially with Survivor. She doesn't really watch Survivor as much. She's more of a Big Brother person. And I know they're very similar, but they're still also like very different. So this I think is going to be her second time doing Survivor. So I'm curious to see how she'll play this time around. Like I know the first time she played a Survivor game, she was like she didn't even know like what it meant to like make an alliance chat, you know. So I think I'm very excited to see how much she's grown. If she's grown, I hope she's grown, and hopefully she'll do better. She's gotten early jury, I think, both times that she's played. But I'm
Pretty sure she was second juror in BB Disney.
Oh, that's right. You played with her.
Yes.
The fact that she's gone from being an IRL to like a full blown orger. I mean, when you're on org 3, I think it's safe to say that you're an orger now, and the way that she's adapted to this community and to the people via the internet, I think is pretty incredible. So I think that Susie has just as much of a chance as anybody else in this to actually do very well, and this will probably be her best performance yet.
Now she does know Morgan. They're not like super, they both know each other like through me, so they're not like super close friends, but they're friendly enough to know like each other.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how that will be. If people will find out. I know oh God.
You're getting a call.
Okay. We'll move.
Okay, I guess I'll go. And I will preface this by saying Susie, you're an amazing person, and I loved meeting you at the wedding. That being said, I think Susie is just way too forward for orgs. I think I meeting her was great, and I understand why she's so forward in orgs is because she's so forward in life, but it works in life, it does not work in orgs. I think she's very forward by what I saw in applause. She was very like, and to be fair, she didn't know the game, so that was her. And Jeremy can tell me if she was any different in Big Brother, but I know in applause, she was very like forward in your face, like this is what I'm doing, this is what we're gonna get done. And for someone who's been playing orcs for maybe a year or two, that might work. For like maybe like a Nick, that'll work to be up forward and be like, hey, this is what we're doing, this is what we're doing. But I don't know, I think Susie just comes off like, hey, like this is what I want, not what we want. And that's what I've seen in the past. I do remember we had a conversation at the wedding at the table where we were talking about like how we divide tribes and how we cast people in orgs. And Susie was or Morgan was like, well, why wouldn't they put like someone like I don't know, me and Susie on the same tribe? Like me and Susie don't even know each other that well. And we were like, well, if you're put on the same tribe, there's a chance that you're just gonna both get killed right off the bat. Like that's that. And they were like, okay, I understand. So I think that Susie is gonna learn from her mistakes, but I don't know. I think her forwardness can come off and rub people the wrong way, especially in the beginning of the game. Whereas like applause, like she like kind of knew Chrissy, so it kind of helped her there, like very little, right? Did she know Chrissy?
No, she didn't know Chrissy at all.
Okay. Well, she was able to make an ally really quickly in someone like Chrissy.
But you're
But
though, because towards the end of applause, she was very forward, and it was rubbing people the wrong way.
exactly.
So hopefully she learns from that.
That's what I've been saying. Like I know, like meeting her in person, like she's very forward in life, but that works. It works in person. It does not work over the computer screen. It does not work over the thing. Now I'm gonna hand it over to someone because I've been rambling. I love you, Susie, and I hope
That's the kind of person she is, though, and she is like the most shameless person in the world. So, and that's one of the reasons why I love her. But
I remember I hosted the applause jury roundtable and I was like, hey, can everyone come on cam? And she was like, no, I will not be coming on cam. And I was like, okay, Susie.
yeah, that's just how she is.
To Mac, go.
Okay, so Susie, I have not played with her. Beautiful cast photo, and I am excited to see how she does. I'm interested to see if she will meet up with Morgan and have like a duo situation. Will Susie use Morgan as a number? Maybe bring her to the end. Will Morgan decide, you know what, I'm doing this solo and cut Susie? Who knows? The opportunities are endless.
Susie seen here standing up in Jen's wedding.
Yeah, this was her in her bridesmaid's dress on my wedding day.
So cute, adorable.
I had the pleasure of playing BB Disney with Susie, who is an icon. The thing, ironically, I had the complete opposite experience to what Seb was describing with Susie, where she was not forward at all with anything, and most of the time avoided talking game and was just like either not talking to people or just talking about life. I don't know which game came first, but it sounds like overcompensation in one direction, regardless of which one came first. So my hope is that she's able to find a middle ground to make it work for her because she is really like naturally charismatic. Like people loved her on the Zooms because she says random shit out of the blue and it's fucking hilarious, or she'll fall over or be drunk at a bar talking to her friend telling stories to the prod while we're waiting to start the challenge. And it's not even, you're not even annoyed with her because she's just so fucking likable and easy to be around. So like there was a bit of us that underestimated her, but there was also a bit of us that was like, she can be underestimated very easily, and that's what makes her a threat. So I think I really think she needs to find her sweet spot in the middle, and I'm hoping that she'll find that in this game.
As someone who's played with Susie in Applause, quite frankly, I underestimated her capabilities of winning comps. I knew she was a social player. She was very likable. I will also state there are two other people on her OG tribe that had also played Applause with her. So she has at least a good, I guess she has a foot on the ground as far as like making connections. She has connections off the bat. So she like Seb said, she is very direct. She's very blunt. Um, and she will do anything to, stay in the game. When I played Applause with her, like people, she rubbed people the wrong way, um, because of her bluntness. But I think with her likability, that overshadowed that. And it was also towards the end of the game. So like, you wanna make sure you are there. She was targeted because of her social game and the fact that like everyone left in the game were social players. She had the bigger social game. Um, I think she's gonna go far.
I will say one last thing. I tend to see this in orgs, but like when you have an IRL who's playing your own game, people tend to underestimate you even more because especially like in like the Susie sense and applause, like people underestimated her because she was Jen's IRL. And when you hear the word IRL, you don't think, oh, you don't think Survivor or Big Brother player. You think, hey, one of the people forced me to play this game because I know them. So at least that's where I come from.
One of Inferno.
Yeah, exactly. So when I see the word IRL, I don't think like, oh, I don't think like game player. I think like, oh, like a member of prod and asked you to play and you did it because you're nice.
Yeah,
So
that's why I underestimated her because I knew when we like made it to the merge together, I knew she watched Big Brother from that conversation. So I my her like Big Brother super fan, I guess, overshadowed my own thoughts about her gameplay as a Survivor player. So that is like something
He's
that,
the one who actually got me to start watching Big Brother.
Plot twist.
Mhm.
wow. Well, all right, we have two more people to talk about, and our next person is from Washington. He goes by he, him pronouns. He is 24, and it's Tanner Grinzel.
Icon.
I think he's only played Distortion, Spellbound, and Applause.
Really?
PTC.
And CTC.
I think he's played more than that.
But he's played more on Facebook. But as far as
Yeah.
Skype, those are the Skype games he's played.
I've never played with Tanner, but I've seen Tanner play a ton of times, and he is very passionate. A lot of the times he gets sniped early. I don't know why, because I haven't played with him, so I don't see how he plays really inside the game, but all I know is that I do see him get voted out early a lot. And he seems like a really, really, really nice guy from the conversations I've had with him. So I hope that he is able to go far in this game.
I just want to see Tanner do well, and I want to know that at the end of the game, Tanner had a good time.
I love Tanner so much. He always tries to put his heart into the game, whether he's playing one or two or three or even four games at a time. Tanner's actually really good with managing multiple games at a time because Tanner talks to people the same way he would in all their games, so it works out for him. I know I know, like, I think Tanner is a good social player. I think people tend to underestimate him, but it sucks that, like, for like other people, like they underestimate them and they'll leave them in the game because they don't think they're threats. But people underestimate Tanner and they get him out as soon as possible because they don't see him as an aid. I think Tanner is a great person to keep in the game because Tanner will always be someone who is willing to be loyal to the people he's loyal to. And I know this because Tanner had really good conversations in distortion with people, and people kind of just brushed it off. So I hope that in this game, people like genuinely be like, "Hey, I want to work with Tanner. I want to have Tanner on my side, my team, like that kind of stuff." But I know that Tanner has a lot of people in this community who will not necessarily gun for him right away, but like a lot of people who are like, "Oh, like I don't look forward to playing with Tanner." And first chance I get, I'm gonna try and get him out, which sucks because I don't do that to Tanner. So I think Tanner is a hit or miss. Like you gotta wait for the game and the environment to see how he's gonna do, but I hope he does well.
So I've played with Tanner 3 times, I believe. 2 or 3 times. I played with him in Spellbound. I've played with him in a Big Brother game. Back-to-back games, pretty much. One game I was working with him, another game I was working against him, and he is definitely someone who will like hold a grudge across games. Someone who likes to pick sides, and I hope that Tanner is able to adapt to the situations and the environment around him. And he can win comps. So
Yeah, I feel like the common thread that I've seen throughout the games that Tanner has played that I've like observed through the VL or whatever is a lack of fluidity. And I think that having a little bit of that fluidity and adaptability would really benefit Tanner's game. Um, and I mean, I like this is another case of like if you get first boot so frequently, like there's only so many times that you can say that people were after you because you're you. Um, before it's like there's something happening here that is causing this to happen every time. So I hope that Tanner will take things that he has learned in previous games from experience and apply that to this and maybe find a little more of that fluidity. But if not, then I see him being an early boot again.
I just recently played an orc with Tanner. Shout out Hypnotic once again. Um, and I saw a lot of value in Tanner's game. I think I agree with everyone. Tanner is very underestimated when it comes to his gameplay. He's very direct. That's what I like. For me, at least as a player, I like someone who's direct, who's honest, and who is loyal. And that's Tanner. He is capable of winning challenges. I think once you do cross Tanner and you do snake him, he will take that to heart once he's in the jury. Like as a juror, he will take that to heart and it will take a lot of explanation to change his mind why your move on him was better for your own game. Um, I want to see Tanner go far. I feel like lately his games that he's played in this side he's been jury. So I hope it goes up from here.
I want to well, so here's something I was thinking as well is that Lawrence and Tanner, they're both from Washington.
Um, Lawrence is from Washington State. Tanner is from Kennewick, Washington. I don't know if that's DC or the state.
No,
The
when
state,
have
Washington,
that's
DC.
DC is its own thing. It doesn't have any
Okay.
like
Anyways,
Tanner and Lawrence, they both tend to play the same game themselves. So maybe we see are they on the same starting tribe or off the same starting tribe? Like
I don't think so. I'll check.
Well, there's a
think
chance.
they are.
Yeah.
If
They're,
there's a chance
oh, they
think
are. They are.
they are okay. Well, then like maybe we see a Tanner and Lawrence team up, and maybe they can understand like, hey, yes, Sean.
I don't.
So I don't know about that because in Hypnotic, when Lawrence got first boot, the last thing he said to Tanner was the same he said to me. You're dead to me. Um,
Oh,
so
okay. So reverse what I said. It's not getting it Tanner and Lawrence. I forgot that they played together in Hypnotic. That's the issue. So we're gonna just rewind a little, and I'm gonna mute.
But I will say this, it is February in the state of Washington, and anybody that's living in Washington has nothing better to do than to be spending their time warging because there ain't nothing going on outside.
Tea.
all right. On to our last player of the season. He is from Raleigh, North Carolina. He's a teacher, goes by he, him pronouns, and is 30 years old. We have Tommy DiCarlo, another person who I was shocked to see in the application pool.
Me too.
This is also his
When I
first
saw this name in the
Survivor
cast, I
game.
was like,
This guy's a fan of succulents. I support it.
Period. Yeah, I was completely shocked when I saw that Tommy applied. Again, Tommy is someone that I don't know really much of his org history, but I do know him from sequester days. He did play some sequester minis. And so I've interacted with Tommy a bunch of times in the past, but it's been a long time. So I'm very excited to see Tommy play. I think he is very likable. I think that I can see him going very far because I think he'll have the social and strategic prowess to do so.
He may not be new to orgs. He's played 2 Big Brother games. Well, he's played technically 1, but he's played it. He played Big Brother hometowns twice, pre-jury the first time, and then 6 the second time. He's never played a Survivor org, so he's not used to the Survivor pace, I will say. Anyone want to go?
Tommy's cute. I'll say that. I think he's got a nice smile. I assumed he was some Twitter person, but obviously Jeremy knows them. So like, I'm assuming
Facebook.
Jeremy knows them from hometowns.
yes.
Okay. So Tommy, if he's a hometown player and a Twitter person, he's never touched Skype before in his life, correct? Probably. That's a scary thought. I think he himself looks like a very friendly person. I definitely like in a game would be like, I want to work with Tommy. But if he's never touched Skype before, it could be a little bit issue, especially since Skype is like the ancient ways of the org community now. So it could be a little harder to navigate. But I think that Tommy could do super well. He already has org experience in himself. But it all depends on if he can manage both the new Survivor pace for him and the new Skype pace for him.
I don't know if Mac's there or if I should just skip him and go.
I'm here. Sorry.
Okay.
I don't know Tommy. So wild card situation for me. Excited to see what he does. Come on, a friend of the nature and succulents.
Tommy is a lovely person. Tommy is very good at talking to people. Tommy is also very good at making himself an incredibly huge threat, which is why he got pre-jury in his first season on BB Hometowns. However, he showed that he could change that by then getting 6th when he came back for his, I believe it was a Second Chances season, if not an All-Star season, one of the two. And I think that his gameplay style. Like I read his boot post and like his gameplay style had changed dramatically. And I also don't know if he will struggle as much with switching to Skype orgs as some Facebook people do, because BB Hometowns is done on Discord and it is a very intense game where they are calling all the time. So he's no stranger to hopping on calls with people and doing things. It'll just be getting used to like the Skype interface itself that he might struggle with. But even that, he can play into that and make that like a quirky thing of like trying to figure out how to use Skype, and that'll just like play into his charm. So I think that Tommy can do really well if he can adapt his Big Brother style play to Survivor play.
Like I said, I was gooped and gag when I saw Tommy DeCarlo on the application list. I knew of him from the sequester days. I actually played, I don't know if they're still dating. I played orgs with their partner, or I don't know if they're still together, but I played with Jake.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see a friendly face. I don't know as far as placement where he's going to be, because again, it's his first time playing a Survivor org. It's, this side of the community is more fast paced in terms of like socializing and strategy. But yeah, I hope he does well. Anything else? Last minute comments?
That's all I've got.
We did it.
I don't know Tommy, so
Yes, you do.
I do. Did I play a mini with him?
He is Jacob Sparks' boyfriend.
Oh my god! Get the fuck out!
Yeah.
Period. Go Tommy.
And
Things you learn in the cast assessment.
Yeah, Jake Sparks. So my very first sequester mini, this was before I knew anybody at all.
That was before we even met.
Yeah, what had Jacob Sparks in it. So Jacob Sparks is like an OG, like in my book.
right. All right, that was it. That was our cast assessment for Inferno Firewall Season 2. Alumni, when you watch this, we love you and thank you again for playing. Thank you, Seb. Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Topher. Thank you, First Boot, Mac. Love you all. And with that, that's it. Jeremy, Seb, if you guys want to shout out anything, you can.
It'll be too late by the time this comes out. Support Distortion. If I'm mentally thinking the schedule correctly, we'll be at like final 6.
How can people follow you on your socials?
Yes, support the final 6 of Distortion Survivor Quarter Quell and apply for season 5. Theme unknown at the moment.
Period.
Shout out to the future winner of Inferno Season 2 Firewall. I am so proud of your game. That jury vote, my god, wow. And just like Goop, wow. Oh my god. You did the damn thing.
Into the first
steps
boot,
to you.
Into the first boot, apply for Distortion.
And to the first boot, I know how it feels.
Mac does.
It gets bitter.
And to the first boot, you'll be bullied as much as Mac was tonight.
Oh,
Yeah.
not bullied. We don't bully. Seb and Jeremy, how can you be found on social?
Oh my god, are you gonna edit this? I can put it right here. I'm
I
right.
doubt it.
Probably not gonna get it, but
No, I mean, it doesn't. Enough about me. You can follow Distortion Survivor on Facebook using the name Distortion Survivor. Find the YouTube page under Distortion Survivor, and you can friend me on Facebook like all the other orgers I don't know on my friends list under Seb Cordero.
Yeah. Facebook, Jeremy Dimitri Arsenault. Instagram, follow my drag account, the_Gemma_Pell.
And for everyone's knowledge, Jeremy's middle name is Robert.
Yep. Yep. That's yep.
And with that, it's time to glitch out of here. Goodbye, and thank you for watching.